After years of trying to get pregnant, she signed up for foster care, but for babies only, and is now documenting her journey of trying to adopt a foster baby. Now she's facing backlash. Watch parts 1 through 4 to catch up.
I know it's going to be a really good day and a really good week because of this. Also, we're still considering the adoption. If we are not pregnant by February, that's what we will move forward with. So I'm very excited and hopeful for what God has in store for us.
Word of advice: if you're going to talk about God being involved in adoption, it's important to remember that if it's God's plan for someone to adopt, it's also God's plan for a mother and a child to lose each other.
A woman that recently adopted her baby that brought me into this Christian agency, they're having a big dinner tonight and she invited us, and so me and my husband are just really excited to meet more people that have adopted and ask questions, to literally try and wrap my head around the fact that this is going to be the last Christmas, the last Thanksgiving, the last Halloween without our baby, because next year, if I'm not pregnant, we are going to adopt, and Lord willing, that's gonna happen.
I don't know what's more insane here, admitting so publicly that adoption is a last resort, or being so naive as to think that you'll just have a baby by Christmas if you decide to adopt. The line between foster care and adoption is starting to get blurry here if it wasn't blurry already, and I think we need to talk about this because if you look at politics, Republicans in the United States have been extremely adamant about blurring the line between adoption and foster care. Right-wing adoption organizations have spent decades trying to infiltrate foster care, and really within the past half decade, they've found a lot of success doing it. To understand this issue, you first need to understand that for decades and for a variety of reasons, the number of adoptable infants in the United States has been rapidly decreasing. And the right-wing adoption lobby, largely made up of religious adoption agencies, has figured out that in order to stay in business, they have to find babies from somewhere, and so they're turning to foster care. It's because of initiatives like this that despite the whole, separation of church and state thing, we see so many states across the United States directly doing partnerships with Christian adoption agencies to create and manage the plans of children in their foster care systems. Just a couple months ago, we saw an executive order get passed that prioritizes Christian foster families that are unwilling to accept the LGBT identity of foster youth in their care. The original takeaway of this video was going to be that if you're struggling with infertility, the answer to that problem is not going to the foster system and trying to pick off whatever baby becomes available to you, but I've already made that point before repeatedly. It is easy to look at the most egregious actors in a bad system and point to the bad actors and say these people are bad, but the deeper conversation we need to be having is that the system allows people like Shelby to do exactly what Shelby is trying to do. In fact, the child welfare legislation we have in this country is explicitly written to serve the participants, not the children. For decades, we've seen the federal government offer incentives to states, paying them thousands of dollars for each child that gets adopted out of their system. The goal is to transfer children from poor families to wealthy families. We're anti-welfare, but we'll give tax breaks to people who adopt. Make it make sense.
POV, you finally get to see him do the hot foster dad walk out of the hospital.
Posting and posing with someone else's child as if it's their own, like it's a baby announcement. Not only is this disgusting, I'm actually pretty sure it's illegal. This is part 4, by the way, of the Shelby Whitaker foster care drama, whatever I've been talking about. She's kept these videos on her Facebook, by the way, for at least a week, where she's just outright posted this child. She deleted the videos on Instagram and TikTok. I don't know if she kept them up on Facebook because she forgot or because they're making money for her. I'm not really sure, but kind of a bad look regardless. I can't find anything more specific than an AI overview that outright says whether foster carers in Texas are allowed to post foster children on the internet, but regardless of the legality or illegality in all of this, it is such a violation of privacy to post foster kids on the internet, especially when you're cosplaying like you're their parents. And I cannot emphasize the term cosplay hard enough here. She threw herself a baby shower, she put together a nursery, she begged her fans to donate gifts to her via a baby registry. Her friends and people from her church are at her house every single night giving her and her husband free food because someone set up a meal train for them. What are we talking about? We're talking about foster care here. These people are getting paid by the government to take care of this child. And if you ask me, the intentions are pretty clear here. This is not a family that wants to foster a child and support reunification with that child's parents. This is a family that wants to adopt a child and get a discount, not going through an adoption agency, but rather using foster care and leveraging the system to acquire the first baby that becomes adoptable to them.
Infertility is literally the hardest thing I've ever been through. And I was so terrified for years to foster and adopt because I've wanted to be a mom for so long. Being a biological mom and being a foster mom is so different, and it's not what I've always wanted, and this is not my plan. And I know that that sounds really selfish, but I'm being a truther here with you. I have no idea what God has in store for us, but I have this overwhelming feeling of you have to prepare, there's a baby coming. And as long as I've wanted to be a mom, I have never felt that.
People need to hear this, and I don't mean for it to sound harsh, but it's just reality. Fostering or adopting someone else's child will never fill that hole. It will never make you pregnant. And frankly, the fact that someone who was so transparent and public about her intentions with regards to getting involved in the system was allowed to foster infants should scare the hell out of anyone whose kid is in the system. This is happening all over the US. It's been happening. People are leveraging foster care to extract children for themselves.